Let's see if we can get a mic working here. Alrighty, how about that? I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox. Thanks for joining us this evening. We are watching a storm over Minneapolis right now. Well, technically into, I think, St. Paul at this point in time. But the storm did have a history of going right through the northern portion of Minneapolis as we were into our evening commute. I mean, just straight into Minneapolis here on the northern side of the city. It continued to track to the southeast. We've got lots of reports of quarter-size hail, few reports of some larger hailstones, and now the National Weather Service has this warned for golf ball size hail. So we are officially at that 1.75-inch hailstone size. So we are watching very, very closely for this storm to continue to make its way into St. Paul. What it's looking like right now is it's just over St. Paul to the north, moving to the southeast and slowly into Woodbury. So what you're seeing right now on your screen is the storm relative velocity, so wind speed and direction on the upper right-hand side. We've got KDP down here showing that we do have some hail in this. I would say probably in this area where we have that correlation coefficient a little bit higher as well. So we're talking about those areas that are lighting up in blue and green, and that is most likely where we're getting our hail right now, really in the St. Paul vicinity. So you guys let me know where you're watching from right now. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, from what I can see, and we've got a storm coming into the St. Paul downtown or just north of downtown right now. Now, I assume that you guys can hear me, but let me go ahead and check on my side as well. I kind of just jumped into this without checking to make sure that you guys could hear me first. So let's double check that. Put in the comments section if you can hear me. I can hear myself, which means that you guys should be able to hear me as well. Let me know where you're watching from. And let me update this on YouTube real quick to get the right verbiage. Now that we have officially a severe thunderstorm warning for golf ball size hail. We knew that was possible today. I said it was a low risk through Minneapolis, and that is exactly what we got. Minneapolis with this golf ball size hail possible, really technically through St. Paul at this point. Okay, getting this updated on YouTube so that you guys have the most up-to-date information over there as well. I think that Facebook has updated information. Let me go ahead and pull up some traffic cameras that we saw earlier, because we saw hail piling up across the roadway, and that's really why I came on this live, because I thought, you know, quarter size hail, that's not terribly impressive. But then all of a sudden, whenever we started to see just how much hail was with this storm, I decided it was probably smart to come on and update you guys. And I'm actually going to switch over radars at the moment, and I'm going to show you more of a wide view in the history of this storm. So if you're just now tuning into us, you see exactly what we're talking about. Okay, so here's the history of this storm. You can really see the storm path very, very clear right here. We've got 1-inch size hail. That's where this all started. I'm going to say this probably incorrectly, but around Corcoran. I hope I'm saying that correct. And then the storm continued to track. I mean, it really just continued to intensify. Slowly but surely intensified to some very, very consistent quarter-size hailstones. And it wasn't just a little bit of hail, a lot of hail across this area. I'll show you a video in just a minute. St. Anthony to Roseville. Now we're really starting to get into some more respectable sizes, right? We've got some $half size hail, but wait, it just gets more impressive as this thing really starts to organize, and we've got our first golf ball, and this is just to the south of Little Canada, just to the north of St. Paul. So that's what we're watching for right now as the storm intensified, continuing to intensify across the northern portion of St. Paul. It already made its way through Minneapolis. It's moving to the southeast right now at a pretty decent speed at about 25 miles an hour. So I'd say that's about normal, maybe a little bit slower than normal. Now I've stalled long enough to find a camera for you, so let's get your camera popped up on the screen, and I can show you just how much hail fell in this area, because it was quite impressive. People were stopping under underpasses. Oh, yeah, here you go. So it looks like traffic is moving okay over here. This is at Larpenteur Ave. You can see the hail on the ground right here. Do you see that? I hope that you can see that okay. Let's go ahead and try to make this a little bit of easier size to see. But you can see the hail on the ground right here. Do you see that? That's all hail. But this has already melted a little bit. We've got hail on the ground right here. Let's just keep going through our traffic cameras. People are pulled over under the overpasses, and they are waiting on the side of the road in some instances. It looks like it's cleared up a little bit in these areas. So let's find a new camera. Let's go closer to St. Paul. So what did I say earlier? Just south of Little Canada and north of St. Paul. Let's see what we're seeing over here. This is at looking southbound on, maybe is that County Road, Long Lake Road. This is right in the middle of the severe thunderstorm warning, so you can see the severe thunderstorm warning right here. Here's Little Canada. This was the area that I had pointed out on the map that I thought was getting some hail, and you can see it on the screen right there. You can see all of that hail that's piling up in the grass. If we can see it on these traffic cameras, it's got to be decent size. There's a decent amount of it. But again, the maximum hail size that we've gotten reported today was golf ball size hail near Highway 36 and I-35. So that's just southwest of Little Canada. And that is basically what you're looking at right here. Let's see any questions this evening. Our golf ball is going to start dropping soon. So we do have a golf ball size hail report. And if I pull up my map, it would be right in this area between Little Canada and St. Paul. So let's take a look at this. Big backup on the highway. Got people pulled over on the side of the road. We did see a crash earlier. I mean, look at that. That was from earlier. People stopped under the overpasses. And can you guys still hear me? Okay, I know that you guys could hear me earlier. I've got one comment on here saying that you can't hear me, so I can double check my audio while we watch this big traffic pile up here. People just stopped on the roadway. You know, in a storm like this, it's not fun to get stopped on the roadway because you can hear the hail pinging your windshield. Never fun. Okay, I can hear myself on live, so you guys should be able to hear me as well. We have a brand new hail report. Let's go ahead and pull that up on the screen. We have a brand new hail report showing for 1-inch size hail between Little Canada and Maplewood. So that's still just north of the St. Paul downtown. There's St. Paul. This is that 1-inch size hail report. The report actually states a lot of hail near Lake Ballin, and most of it's up to quarter size. So again, we're not talking about just massive hailstones here. We're talking about high volume hail. Look at all that hail. You can see it looks like snow on the roadways. Some of the older pictures it did. Let's move forward a little bit. While we wait for that to load, we can go back to our radar. Let's see what's going on across Minnesota right now. So crossing the state line now officially into Wisconsin, we have a little hailer. Not too terribly impressed with this 1-inch size hail coming from this storm. We did have a tornado warning earlier this evening. That came from that same cell that was crossing the state line. Minneapolis. And that's really the only game tonight. We've got a little rogue hailer. We didn't expect storms to go this far north into Salina today. Salina is in for day after day after day of storms. We've got another round of storms tomorrow and even another round of storms on Sunday for Salina. Denver could get in on some of that hail tomorrow as well. We'll have to see how that shapes up. Another little storm in the far eastern portion of New Mexico, 60-mile-per-hour wind gust and quarter-size hail. So the biggest thing to talk about are these storms coming through Minneapolis. It does not look like this camera is wanting to load. So on to the next one. Let's see what this looks like. Any other weather questions? I'm not seeing it on my side of the screen, so you probably won't see it either, but we are seeing some reports from our meteorologists at Hail Trace saying that up to 2-inch size hail was actually reported in Roseville. So it's this area from Roseville to Little Canada that we're seeing the largest hail. So that would be right here from Roseville. Let's see if this video will load. There we go. Everything is melted at this point. This is on Lydia Ave. But we've got a lot of slowdowns in this area. You can see on the bottom right-hand corner of my screen. So we did get some decent hail in this area. It has since melted. This storm has continued to track to the east. And let's see where it is now. It looks like that hail core is going through Oakdale, and I'm assuming it's right here where we're seeing this traffic stopped. Oh, yeah, look at that. Okay, we've got some hail that we can see from our traffic cameras right here. Let's go ahead and make that a little bit larger. And people are just stopped on the roadway, which is a tough place to be during your evening commute, right? You can start to see this hail pile up on the side of the roads as well. So we know that there's a decent amount of hail with this. A little bit of wind as well, as you can see that camera just slowly rocking back and forth. And if you look in the distance, do you see all of those lights in the distance? And a few brave souls are getting out of that underpass and moving on past. But there's a lot of people that are stopping under the overpass or coming off the highway here. A lot of people stopped. Let's see. See the trees moving over here. But there is definitely hail coming down. And again, this is an Oakdale area. We have a question about any neighborhoods get hit in Minneapolis. So Minneapolis, the areas that got hit were on the north side of the city, but this storm definitely intensified as it came into St. Paul. So as it moved to the east and moved into St. Paul, let's go through another round of the history of this storm so you can see the direct path, right, where all of those hail reports are. The storm really got going around Brooklyn Park. That's whenever I started to really pay attention to it. And the Storm Prediction Center, or National Weather Service, did as well, upgrading it from a special weather statement to now officially a severe thunderstorm warning. And you can see the history of that storm, right? See, where's our first? There is our first severe thunderstorm warning. So you can see the storm really starting to intensify as it moves into Brooklyn Park. That's whenever we started to see just how high volume this hail was. That's really why we jumped on. Oftentimes I wouldn't be worried about jumping on for quarter-size hail. However, because we saw how high volume this was, I decided it was probably important to let you guys know. Then the storm continued to track to the southeast at a pretty decent pace, about 25, 30 miles an hour, and eventually made its way into Roseville. That's when it intensified again, and we got reports of about 2-inch size hail in the Roseville area. You can see we've got 1.75 inches, which is golf ball size hail from a trained spotter right around Highway 36 and I-35. And then we've got another report of golf ball size hail just a little bit farther from that, from a photo on Facebook. So we actually have photo evidence of this golf ball size hail. And again, this is north of St. Paul or in North St. Paul into the downtown area near Maplewood. So I hope that helps with your answers on neighborhoods, not technically Minneapolis, but St. Paul, very, very close by, right? Let's see what this storm is doing now. We've got some nice organization on this, okay? So it's the only thing around other than this brand new little storm that's forming near Eagan and Prescott. So it's got plenty of room to intensify, and it's getting out of the metro right now, but you can see on the bottom of the screen the impacts that it left behind. Lots of hail on the roadway. People were stopped back here near the underpass, but it looks like conditions have improved quite a bit. That is in the Oakdale area. So let's just follow the storm on down the highway and let's see what it's doing now. Just maybe a little bit too far to the east. Everything looks okay right here, so let's go back to the west. Xander the Great says, thank you, I was just in Roseville. How large was the hail there? Can you give us an estimate of what you saw from the hail there? And it looks like we are still seeing people stopped under the overpass, under this bridge. Do you guys see that right there? There's a car, there's a car, there's a car. So we know, and I point that out because we know that this storm is still pretty strong if people are stopped, waiting it out, not wanting to move. It's hard to tell that from our cameras how strong the storm actually is, but we can tell by people's reactions. Let's go to this other camera. Same location, just a picture here. I want to get a video. Let's see what's going on over here. Some pretty good movement. So we're going to assume that this area near Radio Drive and Highway, does that say 94? Kind of hard to read that, maybe 54. That looks like the worst of it at the moment, just by how people are reacting, stopping under that bridge. Let's move on down the way a little bit. This is Highway 94 and County Road 19. You can see the hail piling up on the street where people haven't driven through in a little bit. So again, lots of hail with this storm. That's the main reason for jumping on. One more look at the radar before this moves out of St. Paul, and we'll take a few more questions or a few more minutes for any questions that haven't been answered yet. We've got 2 reports of golf ball size hail. One of those coming from a picture on Facebook, so we've got that confirmed. And then it looks like maybe the worst of it came through maybe Roseville to just south of Little Canada and this area. And currently the storm is still holding some really good structure. Let's go ahead and take a look at it from a different view. So you've got your reflectivity, that's up here on the upper left-hand side. And then you've got your storm relative velocity. You're seeing a little bit of spin with this, so I think that we could call this a supercell. But I'm not seeing, I would be a little worried about something popping up right here, but I just don't know if the conditions are perfect for that today. It's better for hail. So again, it's moving out of St. Paul and into Afton right now. Let's see what the Storm Prediction Center has it, or National Weather Service has it warned for. Moving to the east at 25 miles an hour, warned for golf ball size hail. Not worried about that wind. And the National Weather Service, this is their words right here. The thunderstorm damage threat is considerable. That's their words about what they think that this storm could do. Let's see where the core of this storm is, probably right in here, I'd assume. We may still be getting hail. This is at Hudson Road, Manning Ave South. Looking northbound, I think. And now the worst of this is just south of the highway over here, if you see the bottom of my screen, or you can even look up here on reflectivity. So the worst of this is going to be just south of the highway. So we don't have very many cameras, if any at all, over in this area. So it's going to get a little bit harder to track. If we don't have any more weather questions, I'm going to get off of here and look for more pictures on social media. As always, your pictures are very, very helpful. So let us know if you guys had any pictures from the storm today in Minneapolis and in St. Paul. The storm kind of just skimmed Minneapolis, but then hit St. Paul directly head on. So it's something that we are going to be mapping today. I think actually, let's check hail trace. Let's see what's already mapped. I know that our meteorologists are watching it because we're getting some updates from them. My map is loading. Oh, our meteorologists are on it. They have this storm mapped up until Woodbury right now. And so what that was, 1, 2, 3, 5 scans ago. So they have this mapped up until about 12 minutes ago. They're actively making maps to, or updates to the map as the storm continues to truck along into Afton. So, I mean, they're on top of it. They have the most up-to-date map, and they're watching it right now. I think it may be Heather that's mapping right now. She is one of our most experienced meteorologists here at Hail Trace. Does a phenomenal job. Any other weather questions? Here's one report. Mary Pennington saying east side of St. Paul, it was just dime-sized hail and done. Yes, so most of this hail, most of it was on the smaller side, but we did get several reports on the northern side of St. Paul that we had golf ball size hail. So I think these storms, they pulsate. They get stronger, they get weaker, they get stronger, they get weaker. But the significant thing about this storm is the high volume hail. We had pictures and videos across Minneapolis and St. Paul of hail just piling up in some places. So not necessarily the size of the hail in this storm, but just how much hail there really was with this. That was the impressive part. That's why I jumped on here to say it's rush hour and a lot of people are getting hit by hail. All righty, if we don't have any other last minute questions, I'm going to hop off of here and look for pictures. We always post pictures and videos after storms on our Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram pages, so make sure that you follow us over there. And we will also have a forecast for tomorrow because we have more storms tomorrow. So we don't often have storms. We don't often have forecasts on the weekends. However, we will for Saturday because we have a big storm system moving into Colorado, close to Denver. Denver's could possibly get hit tomorrow. Across the entirety of Kansas, portions of Nebraska, Oklahoma, and then late into tomorrow night, so Saturday night into Sunday morning into Kansas City. More hail for Minneapolis. You guys got a lot of hail, but it was on the smaller side, right? Evan Perry is asking more hail for Minneapolis. Let's go back. So it looks like, change this over. Look at this. Okay, so here's your storm right now. There's more storms farther back to the west. the northwest. These are not severe. I do not think they're going to go severe. I think it'd be pretty difficult for these storms to go severe. So I would say this is probably about it, but you can't rule out maybe a severe thunderstorm or two from this. Look at these cooler temperatures, 57 behind this line of storms, 58 in St. Cloud, 60 degrees north of Elk River behind this line of storms. A nice cool down coming with these storms. Let's take a look at your wind. There's your north wind coming in. So this is a north wind. If you go down to the south, you've got more of like a southwest wind happening. You've got a nice south wind off to the east. So behind this line of storms, if you're going out for dinner in Minneapolis tonight, going out for date night maybe, kids' basketball games, you may need a jacket because the temperatures behind this next line of storms, they're going to be a lot chillier, 50s and 60s. Well, right now, Minneapolis is sitting in the upper 60s, low 70s. We've got 70 up near Coon Rapids, 74 in Bloomington. Very, very comfortable, but then you've got some cooler temperatures behind you. 56-degree dew point. And we'll call this breezy. It's not too windy, but I think I would call it breezy. That north wind coming in a little breezy behind this line of storms. So probably not more hail for Minneapolis. I think you've got very, very low chances for any more hail for Minneapolis today. You're going to feel that cool air. That's going to be the big story the rest of the evening. Great questions. Got another golf ball. Look at that. Another golf ball size hail report in Maplewood. This came in about 4 minutes ago. Let's see what this looks like on the map. We are just about out of the area that we could see the storm on the map. Oh yeah. This storm, if we take a look at the storm, this is what it looks like right now. And they're not warning it. I wonder if this is weakening. I wonder if these storms down to the south are messing with the inflow for this storm right here in Hudson and Afton. You know, I think it's weakening right now, which is why they haven't warned it farther out. They may be warning it farther out for maybe like quarter size hail. It's still warned for golf ball size hail right now. I think that they probably are going to take that down. I take that back. It's actually warned for $50 size hail right now. So I think if they make another warning, it'll be for 60s and quarters. Very, very general severe thunderstorm. But we did get lots of reports of golf ball size hail. We've got a ping pong ball size hail report highlighted here in orange. That is a photo via Facebook. So we've got some photos of these. Another golf ball size hail report from a photo via Facebook as well. Another one from a trained spotter, and that was right along Highway 36 and I-35. So big day for Minnesota. I do have there's a nice wind gust, very strong wind coming with this, I guess you could call it a front, some cooler air behind these storms. Let's take a look at what this storm looked like as it moved through Minneapolis. So this is a video from Minneapolis during it's going to take a minute for it to pop up, so bear with me for just a minute. This is what it looked like on the roads when it went through Minneapolis during rush hour just about 30 minutes ago. Perfect video. Okay, so this is from about 30 minutes ago during rush hour. You can see how much hail is piling up on the side of the roads over there. And people are slowing down. Tons of hail on the right side of the screen whenever people are going around that corner on the off ramp, merging into the other highway, and we've got just tons of hail on the left side of their driveway or their car. Rewind this and show it one more time. Now, a great catch coming from our comments section. 2.25 hailstone recorded just north of St. Paul. That was reported from a picture. So we actually have a photo of that. It says 2 miles northeast of St. Paul, and that happened about an hour ago, right around 5:05. So great catch by the comment section. I didn't catch that. I was too worried about the video. So let me zoom out a little bit and show you the location. Here's Minneapolis, here's St. Paul. Now let's zoom in, and you can actually be a satellite view, see exactly where that report was. So we're still getting reports across this area. Earlier, we just had 1 or 2 reports. People are slowly sending in their pictures and videos. So we will continue to track this across St. Paul and Minneapolis. I do think this is probably the last of the hail you're going to get for the evening. You still have a few storms ongoing just to the north of you, but then you've got some cooler air with some strong north winds behind that, so that's going to kill a lot of your storm chances. You still have some rain coming in, so it may be a chilly and soggy night ahead of you guys. One more look. 2.25 inches. You know, my max hail size for today was golf ball size hail. I said, I think we're going to really struggle to get anything larger than 2 inches, but here we go. We got a 2-inch size hail report. All right, well, thanks for joining us today. Thanks for the comments in the comment section. Again, we'll be live tomorrow, just shortly before noon. I've got some Father's Day stuff, events going on, so I'll be live a little bit earlier in the morning to give you guys a big heads up on the storms coming for you tomorrow. So we've got storms across Colorado, Kansas, Missouri tomorrow, even Oklahoma and Nebraska trying to get into the game of storms a little bit. And then we've got another round for Sunday, so we'll make sure that you're informed. Catch us tomorrow morning for your noon forecast. And Xander says, can we see the pictures? So these pictures are actually coming in from the National Weather Service. So we don't have those. However, what I do after I get off of this live is I go look for those pictures. They don't give those directly to us. However, we go look for them and then we post them on our social media pages later. So it's hard for me to do that while I'm also live talking to you guys, but I'll make sure that I'm looking for those on social media and we'll try to get those posted to our social media pages. Xander, I see that you're coming in from YouTube. It's hard for us to post on YouTube. We do a few posts over there, but we do a lot more on Facebook, X, and a little bit of TikTok. Instagram, we're very, very active on, so check us out over there. All right, thanks for joining us on this Friday evening. Thanks for spending your Friday with me. We'll see you guys tomorrow.